I can safely say this is one of the best, fastest, tankiest and the strongest build I ever played. I made this from my previous energy shield stacking molten strike trickster that you saw earlier. What's up guys? Pidget here. This is my build of the league, easily the strongest build I ever made. This is the final form of my Ethereal Edge energy shield stacking trickster. We're talking about 85 million damage per second, 25 million Überboss DPS, while we also nearly immortal. Only Übermaven memory game can kill us, but we can cheese with War Arctic armor. As you can see, it deletes everything that have a life bar above his head. The question is how we reach that much damage and tankiness. The easiest way to get more damage and survivability in a build, level to 100. So I spent my weekend leveling up, then made a few changes on the tree. This is cost nearly nothing, just a few regrettor. But the eye-catching thing is the flasks. Yes, I farmed the mage blood with my magic finder, so it would be bad not to using it. So I added it to the build. Because of that, we can just increase the flask effect by 95% and add a few luxury mods. We capping our resistance with the flask and we getting stun immunity as well. Also reducing the mana cost of the blasting skill low enough to able to use with only 69 mana. Nice. Side note here, if you think the build is can't function without the mage blood or expensive items, check out my previous version of this build that I made this league. I put in the description so you can watch it later. Resistance, stun immunity, plus aura, only one piece of gear. But we don't stop here. The build is a projectile build, so what item is providing the most for a projectile build? Yes, Nimis. I closed my eyes and bought one 47 Divine. Last time you guys asked me why I don't use Nimis in this build. Well, the reason was the price, and I still think it's too expensive. I can easily make a build that much currency and not only pay for one item. This ring is just pure damage. This will double your damage no matter what. The returning projectile mod is just straight broken, but with the power came a few problems as well. We're losing too many energy shield and attributes, because we're switching out a rare ring with good stats. So I had to find a way to fix my strength requirement. I quickly learned if you're using mage blood, you can just pick up a few attribute node on the tree. That would be a waste. Also, how is looking, I put together an expensive build but can't fix the attributes. So quickly changed all my charms to better ones with tons of attributes because we're scaling heavily from the int. Also there is a charm that gives us int and strength as well. Also increasing the curse effectiveness and this build using free curses. So this is a good deal. Next thing is a suppression problem. The first version of this build used Spellbreaker, but I switched out because one step ahead much better. Not only the damage but the fact nothing can slow us down, which is really good if you want farm Ubers like Eater of Words, Elder, Uber Elder can slow you down and that would be annoying, so I had to adjust a little bit on the tree to cap 100%. The new charm as well and fix this problem. If I had infinite currency I would just reforge the suffix on my chest till I hit suppression and bit of intelligence, then I could drop 2 suppression node and get more damage, but honestly I don't have that much currency, also I don't want to do that because the build is already strong enough. The weapon is also really important, without this the build can't work. Ethereal Edge. Started double corrupting them with attack speed, harvest and chump. My goal was hit resolute technique and fortify on hit, so I can switch out the that which was taken unique javel. Sadly, after 15 plus try I did not hit, only resolute technique and a little bit of fist damage, which doesn't do anything for this build. So I wasted around 60 divines for 3% attack speed. The reason is 60 because 2.5 divine for the double corruption temple, 100 chaos for perfect roll energy shield weapon and around 1.5 divine yellow life force. So this was the most devastating thing I done yesterday. I was so upset about this and still little bit salty. The next big test for this build is the 100% delirious mobs, simulacrum, and yes, it can do Valdo's max. You will see in a second. Both is a cakewalk. Okay, the 100 delirious mobs is not something you will farm with this build, but good to know you can do it. The build is not a speed farmer by any means. This build is mostly for Überboss killing. The ancestral call helps with your clear, but you will not fast as a tornado shot character with Headhunter. For my biggest surprise, the wave for this simulacrum was very easy, even it had monster damage and crit damage multi. The boss is melted even with the clear setup, so this is only 5 link damage you see here. So if we could increase the damage further, it would be very good simulacrum format. Or you can just play Detonate That and make it faster with less currency investment. Honestly, I wouldn't do void maps with this, and the reason is why, because I don't want to lose this character. I also invested many hours and life to this character, so it would be devastating to lose it. But if you want to with this, well, go ahead and do it. I think the only bad mod for this build that the less damage per item. I don't think we can just leave item slot empty. Also maybe the less aura effect, it would be annoying or hard. I did not try it, so can't say for sure. I really like this build. Even if you're playing the much cheaper version, it can done any meaningful content in the game. I could try price the whole build, but let's be real here. If we adding together the last 4 league builds in terms of currency, then we maybe could buy a few pieces of gear for this character. If you want to invest that much in a character, go ahead, no one will stop you. The most important is enjoy the game you like, not how the others telling how you should play. The real reason I never will invest again that much into a build is you guys. I'm trying to make super tanky build reasonable and reachable budget. I still remember how hard can be to go work, do a few house chores, make food, take a bath, then play a few hours if you don't have kids. If you have kids, then even less time to play. Many other creators forget this really hard fact and just showcasing a really expensive build if you see gameplay at all and not just standing in a hideout and telling you, yeah, this build is can do. I'm always showing what can the build do and telling what you not. I would like if you hit the like button like the shaper hitting the others so it can start spread to more people. Thank you. Quick rundown on the items what we got. The 60 divine weapon, double corrupted with resolute technique and fizz. The fizz doesn't do anything for this build. Also harvest attack speed enchantment. We still using auxiliary reflection unique shield. This gives us tons of energy shield and curse effectiveness and making us to immune curses. So we don't have to worry about the curses and we don't have to roll curse effect reduction on flasks. We also using Voices of the Storm unique amulet. Lighting damage with non-critical strikes is lucky. We are anointing on this arcane focus. This is not the best anoint. I'm using this because it gives tons of energy shield. The best anoint would be Gladiator Preservance. That would be around 5% more damage. I just wanted more energy shield, that's why arcane focus. Still using my favorite unique, Anathema. With this ring we can use free curse in the build. The other ring is Nimis. This is doubles or damage. Also very expensive, but not the most expensive item in the build. One of the best unique item in the game, Mage Blood. I think I don't have to say what this is do. Maybe the most known item after Headhunter. The next big section is the rares. Let's start with the gloves. Almost perfect prefixes, only a few energy shield missing, but the focused validate mod making up the loss and the incraft as well. Looks like someone copy pasted from POB or some POB warrior item. But not. This is here. Also I got really lucky with this, because only took one Violet Chaos and one Unveil to hit this focused mod. Boots is also a really good piece. It would be hard to beat because of the mod combination. I saw a better one on trade for 100 divine, so it would be very expensive upgrade. Helmet is really interesting. This is also hard to beat, because we need int and high energy shield while also have an open prefix to craft Aspect of the Crab. I bought an upgrade when finished recording the boss fight for 25 divine. Much higher energy shield and need to be craft Aspect of the Crab, and I can craft suppression on it so I can drop one passive point for more damage. One of the most important item is the body armor, really high evasion and energy shield, also high int and percentage attributes. This bad boy here is giving us 4.8k energy shield. The flasks is a standard Mage Blood setup. Triple elemental resistance flask with stun avoid, additional elemental resistance and mana cost reduction, also a silver flask with attack speed. Of course, all of the flask has increased flask effectiveness. On the passive tree there is also many upgrades and changes than last time. The most eye-catching thing is the Timeless Javelin, and we are locating almost all of the good nodes, because the Javelin gives us 15% chance to deal double damage. Also on this node we get Intimidate, which is 10% increased damage taken. Other big change is I'm using a large thread of hope, primeval force, one with nature and the small note here because I need the extra suppression. And we also take multi-shot, also using that which was taken unique jewel. We changed to fortify on hit and exposure uplifts minus additional resist. I wanted to switch out this, but I did not hit the right corruption on the weapon. Using 2 rare jewel with mana cost reduction, so we can use our blessing with that low mana. You need 10% reuse on the jewels. A Watcher Eye with increased attack damage while affected by precision and mana as extra energy shield while affected by clarity. It would be really hard to switch out this. We also change up the charms, using one with suppression and aura damage. The other 2 is strength and int, also give us curse effectiveness. On the Ascendancy only changed Spellbreaker to 1 step ahead. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any question, please leave a comment below. Also, I would like to say thank you for my Patreons for supporting me. Thanks again guys. Thanks for watching. I was Pidget. See you next time.